yeah, that should.
Let me know when I'm back on.
Yeah. And anything else you want to talk about? Like, I don't know. Are they gonna? What's the deal with? I don't know. Hold on.
Okay, sorry, we were having some technical difficulties, but I'm back now. I don't know what just happened, but I was talking about what the legislature wants to see accomplished. And basically saying that this is kind of the end all be all because this is the first time they're back. The end of session was scheduled for the beginning of June anyways. So after this week, there was only a couple of scheduled session days, and I can't imagine that they would. I mean, it's possible they could call a special session over the summer, but as far as scheduled days, they were just scheduled through the end of this month and a couple of days in early June because, like I said, they had to campaign for the primary. But obviously, that looks very different now. And there was a question that disappeared when my screen closed, but it was something along the lines of what is happening with the primaries and which races to watch and that sort of thing. So there are one of the major legislative races that are at stake for the primaries. It's really funny because some of the races that would be very hot this year, that sort of thing, it's really not as much like that because it's very, very difficult for someone who's not an incumbent to campaign right now. You're not going door knocking and you're not seeing people in person. You're not holding campaign events. You're not holding fundraising events. So this is a really, really, really weird time for everyone, but especially people who are running for the first time or who are trying to primary an incumbent. So in this area, there is a primary for the 108th, I want to say, but fact check me on that, Assembly District, and that is John McDonald's seat. He's held that seat for quite a bit, and he is being primaried from the left. He is a Democrat, and so that is one of the races locally to keep an eye on, and then there are a couple of other random things. But this election as a whole is just going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how many people turn out to the polls, how many vote via absentee ballot, which the state is really, really trying to push, and everything really. This election is going to be unlike any other. So yes, just a reminder, or if you just got a new notification from after my computer crashed or whatever happened. My name is Cayla Harris. I'm with the Times-Union. I'm a state government reporter. So you can drop questions in the comments on Facebook, tweet some questions on Twitter, or leave comments, I guess, in the comments on YouTube, and I will try my best to answer them. Let's see, what else happened today? The governor was in DC today. He met with President Trump this morning and at around 11, and then he had his press conference at 1, which is a little later than normal, obviously, because he was in that meeting with President Trump. Usually he has his briefings at 11:30, and he said that the meeting was focused on infrastructure projects. He really wants to, especially downstate, he wants to get some federal approval for those infrastructure projects, bring some revenue to New York, and bring the economy back to life, basically, because Cuomo has stressed that he doesn't think the economy is just going to bounce back to usual, and he thinks that it's going to be some stepped, phased process along the way. And he said also that he thinks the people on top will come out just fine, the people on the bottom, not so much. And so he's trying to move forward in these infrastructure projects, like an air train to LaGuardia from Manhattan, that sort of thing, to kind of get things going again. President Trump, I think one of his aides had also insinuated that he was going to talk about nursing homes, but Cuomo said that he didn't talk about those, and the response to the nursing home crisis. Obviously, Cuomo and co have received a lot of flack for that recently because there were several controversial policies that were enacted by his administration in nursing homes. So that is something else we can talk about if you all are interested, but drop comments. I'm not live on Facebook like I normally am, so I can't see Facebook comments directly. So definitely drop them so that someone else can flag them for me. Cuomo, like also, like I mentioned before, is very much asking Congress for federal funds. He said he's going to do 20% cuts across the board, basically to schools, hospitals, local governments. If there is no federal assistance, New York is facing a 10 to 13 billion or $15, oh my gosh, 10 billion to $15 billion deficit related to the coronavirus pandemic and the loss in revenue. And I think the actual number ended up right in the middle of that, around 13 or 13.5. But that number is a huge number. And so there's been discussions ongoing about how the state should deal with that. Cuomo has kind of shirked responsibility, at least for the moment. And he's saying, you know, he's confident in Washington, he's dependent on Washington, and he needs Washington to send money to the state before he enacts those cuts, which is a little bit different than the plan that was first announced. It was going to be sort of the budget office checks in on the budget a couple of times a year, and then they decide where to cut money or where to, you know, whatever, if receipts are bad, and then they make decisions based off of that. But so far there have been no decisions, no proposals, no firm anything that we can read based on those numbers that have come in so far, as Cuomo again has directed the attention to the federal government and to the congressional delegation. So I'm sure that was something that came up today when he was speaking with the president. His briefing today was also delivered from DC. It was at the National Press Club, which is a beautiful place if you've never been. What are the Assembly and Senate leaders saying these days? Not much. I mean, there isn't much to say. The legislators have been so busy from their own districts, from you know, taking care of constituents and that sort of thing. So it has been very much locally focused in that regard. Of course, they're still talking about, they're still tweeting and talking about things that are relevant to the state as a whole. They had promised for a long time, the focus was when they were going to get back to Albany, when they were going to reconvene, that sort of thing. And now that they're back, it's kind of what is happening otherwise. And so again, mostly in district things and a couple of things here and there. I know the Assembly Speaker, Carl Hastie, he's been talking a lot about the census too, which is very important. So you should fill out your census if you haven't done that already. But yeah, not too much on that front. But I'm sure we will get some long releases from them this afternoon and possibly tomorrow, as both chambers pass this long list of bills today, the coronavirus package that's going through both chambers. So I am sure we will hear more from them and how they plan to work with the governor's office to get these enacted, because of course, once they pass both chambers, they also have to go to the governor's desk and they have to get the governor's approval. So yes. Great. Any other questions? We stop and sip my water before going on. Again, oops. Okay, we say nothing's coming in, so feel free to wrap up. So I'm going to wrap up. Thanks to all of you who did tune in today. Again, I'm Cayla Harris. I'm a state government reporter, and this is your last chance to drop comments because I'm doing my sign off. So aside from that, visit timesunion.com. Keep up with our coronavirus coverage at timesunion.com/coronavirus, and also our political blog, Capitol Confidential. Sign up for our newsletters, that sort of thing, and we will do our best to keep you informed about what's going on both in the Capital region and also at the state government level. So thanks for tuning in.